Hi there, I'm the CRM Ninja, and on today's episode of the Oops Factor, I'm joined by the one, the only, Carl Cookson. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, EY.
It's an absolute pleasure. I mean, you are making some serious waves with the recent stuff you've done for XRM Toolbox.
Well, I hope it helps people. I'm not here to make waves. I'm here. Those are the problems that I've had, and it's for me sharing tools that I've created to fix those problems is why I do it. Really, it's all about learning from it as well, which is a lot of the things that I write about is me learning things. So and sharing that knowledge.
Well, that's one reason I've got my background, because this is the inside of the British Library. Well,
Hmm.
it's part of the inside of the British Library because I know
Yeah.
you love to learn. And when I say making waves, I don't mean in a bad way. It's a tool that's been massively missing from people's toolkit for a while. I remember back in the day, go back a decade or so, you had the ability to connect Visio to Dynamics database and do it. And for people who don't know what the heck I'm talking about, Cole, several weeks back, especially by the time this episode airs, released a tool for the XRM Toolbox, which creates an ERD diagram for Visio. So you can point it to Dynamics, and it will build that for you, pop it into Visio, and there you go. It's amazing. You haven't checked it out, you need to go check it out.
Thank you, EY. Yeah, I hope it helps. Yeah, I do hope it helps. And I think it's one of those things when you start on that journey and you want to know more and more information. So seeing places where it's been used, etc., places on the globe popping up has been quite an eye opener and quite revealing. But yeah,
Yes,
I really enjoyed making it, and getting help from Jonas and Tanguy, etc. They've all helped along the way, so it's been good.
they are really great. Jasmine Jonas has actually been on Dupes Factor. He shared a story a couple of months back, and we talked a
Mm.
bit about XRM Toolbox because that was obvious. But no, your tool really is great. I keep recommending it around to people, and they're like, "Okay, how does it work? What does it do? I've seen stuff like this before," and then they see it and they use it, and they're like, "Wow, that saved me hours. That saved me days." So massive contribution to the community. I think that you've done there. Putting it out. So we all
Thank
really
you.
applaud and thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks for the feedback. It's good.
No problem. Now, apart from coding for XRM Toolbox, I understand you're involved in a local diving club. Can you tell us a bit about it?
Yeah, my son, since he was about 9, he got selected for the local diving club, Star Diving in Guildford.
Wow, that's
Um,
amazing.
yeah, well, yeah, it was good at the time, and it still is now. He's been to national championships at the lower level of nationals, but a year back I took on the role of chairman as well, which has been a lot of work, but it's been good to see the Power Platform used in a charity situation and use the skills that I've got to
Yes,
elaborate on what they're doing, because they're very much still stuck in, if no one's there from a technology point of view, they certainly haven't got the money to pay anyone. They don't change from their old ways, and it takes quite a bit of time to move them on. And even just using forms and that sort of thing
yeah,
has helped them vastly. And we sort of do a lot more with that than we know about, including a lot of flow and Power Automate to automate things and get things going and sorted. But recently, it's all been about trying to return to the diving club. We're
yes,
allowed to go back at the weekend, and we're just trying to get everything together to allow us to do that, and understand what that means and how it affects our divers and coaches.
definitely. And as you say, charities, they don't really have the money to do very much, if anything at all. If they don't have people who are IT literate to do stuff, they will continue with, paper-based forms. We have a mutual acquaintance, Mike Hartley. He works in
Hmm.
the not-for-profit and the charity sector. It's amazing what we do. I volunteer in a couple of local community charities as well around technology. So, you know, people being able to do stuff without needing pro devs to code custom applications for them, but being able to utilize things like Power Platform, Forms Pro, all that sort of stuff is really great. And of course,
And it's
Microsoft gives some really great licensing for it.
yeah, no, exactly. That we get 23 licenses,
Yes,
so that's just enough to cover us. And just realizing that it's an E1 effectively, but it gives you forms, Power Automate, Power Apps, anything with SharePoint, unfortunately, not CDS, but everything, and it's there and available and free, effectively. So we're trying to make as much use as we can,
Definitely.
but moving away from paper-based forms, etc., is tough.
Yes. Yeah, it's not easy, but well done to you. Now, before we get on to your whatever you want to share with us for the Oops Factor, I do have one really, really burning question that I've been dying to ask you, which is, as the chairman of your local diving club, have the swimmers ever thrown you off the high board?
No, I'd never got up to that high board, to be honest. The idea of even going up there scares me. I'm not very good with heights.
Okay.
You
Have
should
they
see
ever sort
my.
of gently pushed you over the edge then into the pool?
No, thankfully not. It's a no-no in the club. We jump on that quite seriously. So
Right.
it's morale, etc., and treating your coaches and superiors
Chairman.
with
Chairman,
respect,
of course.
etc. Definitely, definitely,
Right. Okay.
definitely.
So if you're with Carl at a swimming pool, you're not allowed to push him in. If you're with him at the beach, whatever goes goes.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah.
Good. So what do you have to share with us today for your Oops Factor story?
Well, I think my oops factor is not technology. Well, it is technology based, but when
Doesn't
I
need to be
was
technology.
with consultancy, my career in CRM, dynamic CRM, started probably 6 or 7 years ago now.
Okay.
Prior to that, I was doing CRM in a different guise, a different product, Pivotal CRM, which is now part of Aptian. Has been
Okay.
through several guises. Back in the it would have been early 2000s, I was working at a consultancy that was consulting on Pivotal CRM and doing really quite well in that product.
Okay.
Pivotal CRM is a great product back in its day, in terms of a tool set and a toolkit to produce applications. Very
Right.
similar to Power Automate now with processes and business workflow, etc.
Right. Got it.
But it was Windows based, and it migrated to a web based app, but it was still on premise, and it migrated to online. And I think they're doing quite well in different sectors now, but obviously not got the bandwidth that Microsoft has.
Yes.
And so back when that all began with Microsoft CRM3, I was offered to cross train into CRM3,
From
and
Pivotal
from
CRM to
Pivotal
cross train
CRM
into
to cross
Microsoft.
train. So it
Okay.
would have been very simple for me to go from this renowned product that I'd known and worked with for years to this new up and comer. And I effectively said no. And the reason was that
Hold on.
3.0.
Before we get to the reason, what does your manager say when you said no?
It was basically they were happy with it because they were in the same mindset as me. They wanted to get a footing in, but weren't that convinced that it would be around. And I think that's the same as me, that it was CRM3 was so restrictive in what you could do compared to the product, compared to Pivotal.
Yes.
So
But let's bear in
pernickety.
mind that 3.0 was heaps better than 1.2.
Oh yeah, I totally. It's
I
a
just had to
step
throw
up.
that in there.
It's totally a step up, and if I'd have got in at that point, it certainly would have been a different career that I had. But I took the reason being was that I just thought it was so such a beta product was not going to get any
Yes.
traction. It had so many limitations compared to this other product that you would never implement a project with it.
Right.
And whatever you could do in CRM, you could do a lot better in Pivotal, a lot easier, etc. And at that point, I made a decision, and unfortunately for my career, I think it was a bad decision. I'm not saying I haven't enjoyed my career and where I am now, but it certainly has not gone on the same path than it would have done if CRM3 was what I had chosen. And
Okay.
that's the way it is. It's learning from those mistakes and taking the opportunities where they can, and what you think is the right decision. in the heat of the moment may certainly not be the one in the long run.
That's true, but sometimes we can only learn through hindsight.
Oh yeah, hindsight is 2020, and there has been products along the way that have fallen, even though they were superior, and they will time and time again. The marketing, the R&D that Microsoft has is second to none, really, in our space,
That's correct.
and it's just, I think I should have had that vision, and I think I took the easy life
That's fine.
of
Look,
what I
we
knew
all.
rather than forcing myself down a route that would have made me uncomfortable.
So let me ask you this. Leaving aside, it might have made you uncomfortable because you felt the product didn't live up to the product you wanted at the time. What might have changed your mind? If you can think back in reflection, what would have made you change your mind and actually do it at that point?
Um, I think it would have been better guidance from my peers. The idea that, that back in those days, the community was non-existent for either product, but
Yes.
understanding what was available and the push that it was given, more than just the marketing spiel, because I think that's all I was getting, and understand where it was going and the amount of investment it was going into it, and
Right.
comparing it to you still get the marketing spiel from the other products. So they're saying they're investing and all that sort of thing, but understanding that those budgets would have been certainly something that I would have hopefully used now to
Right.
make a decision like that. But this is a long time ago. I've had two kids
True.
and etc. since then, so um, it is a look back really from a decision I made, and hopefully that I will take longer to make those decisions now, and toss up all the ways of working and the way all the pros and cons to make sure that you come to the right solution, the right
Understood.
decision.
So, so if you were giving advice to someone in our community or outside of the community, whether it was to look at Microsoft or in a totally different situation, what advice would you give them for them to try and make the best choice possible?
I think with all of the applications, you've got to see whether you've got to have a pros and cons and understand what's best for your circumstance. No, everyone is different. Uh, there's a lot of people made a career out of the second best, and they become the rarity. They become worth more because of not that many people knowing it or whatever. They become a big fish in a little pond, and a lot of people have done well at that. But you've got to imagine what your scope for change would be. So if you took that community that has for Pivotal and thought, how many options do I have compared to certainly now with Dynamics, how many options I've had, you need to really look at a wide range of questions to come up with
Right.
the options and to come up with the answers, and they would be personal to you. Everyone's different.
That is
Everyone's
very true.
not going to want to do a solution architect role or a technical architect. They're
Hold on,
quite
hold on,
happy
hold on.
with.
Whoa, 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 whoa. You're saying that some people don't want to be a solution architect? They don't want to get the
Definitely not.
3 star? I'm kidding with you. I'm
I
kidding.
definitely not. They're more than happy and make a career out of business application.
Yeah.
Being a BA, and
That's fine. My
so
background is BA. I started off as BA. I still feel, the core of me is a BA. I just had to do that, bearing in mind that earlier this year we did the MBA 600 with the 3 star
yeah.
solution architect, and I couldn't resist it. So please forgive me.
No, it's fine. I don't think, it is the epitome of the pinnacle of our career. Really, is to get that one under your belt is probably where people should be striving to at the very first stop. But experience really is definitely worth more to me than a bit of paper.
Yes, yes, true. Although let's not discount shiny badges because we all have a very soft spot for shiny
Yeah,
badges, and in Larry's case, he has a whole wall for badges and
yeah,
stickers. So which
yeah,
will better rub. Brilliant. Now that's some really sage guidance, and as you say, it will be personal to everybody. I've had various pivots in my career over the years, And I had to throw the word pivot in there, as you mentioned, pivotal CRM.
Yeah.
I'm just in that sort of mood this evening. If I could see a pod, I'll take the pod. It's all about that. So, but on a more serious note, some very, very sage advice. Go out, whether you're looking at the Microsoft community, whether you're in a totally different community, go out, talk to people in there, in the community you're looking at joining, for the product or whatever it is. Go talk, get advice, and see how it weighs up and affects yourself.
Yeah, and I think that is the key that is missing in a lot of other products, is that community. The strength of our community, not only just the forums and blogs and all the rest of them, but the way that people will reach out to you if you've got a problem or help out, I think is fantastic and unlike anything I've seen before. And I think that's probably the power of, it is marketing for Microsoft, don't forget, but it's certainly one of the pillars of being able to do things differently with the product and with your environment, is to make sure that you're not, everyone's solution is not unique. There will have been someone that tried to do it before you, and just knowing where that source of advice is key.
Definitely. And people from Microsoft, hopefully, you're listening to this, and we appreciate all you do for marketing and stuff and supporting the community. So feel free to sponsor drinks at Power Platform, Happy Hour, Dynamics 365 UGs. Contact me directly. I can hook you up with the people organizing it and stuff, and always happy for that if you want to do that, of course. So, Carl, thank you so much for appearing on the show. Now,
not a problem.
Who would you like to nominate to appear on the show, on the Oops Factor, to hear their story?
Well, Tanguy, really. I think he would be a great one. He's been around MVP for longer,
a couple of years,
quite a few years. And I don't know if you had Matt Collins-Jones on.
I had MCJ recently, yes. So Tanguy is great. I will reach out. I've chatted to him once or twice.
Good.
Brilliant. Well,
yeah, it's, I think it'd be interesting to see how he's done that along with Jonas, the Exeron toolbox, and how he's managed to keep it going for so long for no money.
Definitely, yes. Well, Carl, once again, thank you so much for your time. Viewers, we really hope that you've learned something from this and can apply it to your own lives as and when it's applicable. Feel free to check out the rest of the Oops Factor playlist, take a look at the blog, subscribe to the channel, and above all, have a great day.